good. There's always a bit of a control moment. Alright, so welcome to the Kailua study group, and that's an interesting name after the last couple of sessions that we had. And so what do I mean by that? It's like studying. Okay, so that's, yes, that is what we do in a certain sense, and I'll get back to that later. But I'm really happy that you're here and that you decided to join the meditation first, and then the introduction to the tape that we're going to listen to, and then the actual tape, 112b. Ye are the sons of God, if... ... which is a very interesting title, and it will help us, and we're going to play the last half hour of it, and but that's later on, so that's after our little break that we have after 3/4 of an hour. And still somebody wants to come in. You're welcome to join. So I'm really happy and excited to start coming into stillness and to leave everything behind, all the ephemeral behind, all the stuff, so to speak, that is bothering your mind for a moment, but you know it's not real. It's just part of your perception, your mesmerism, the way that you look at things, but it doesn't tell you anything about you. So and that is the practice that we do. So you can call that a study if you want. It is kind of a study, and that you sink deeper into your consciousness, that you let go of everything that doesn't need to be there. Everything that is just, say, a temptation to make something real that you think has a reality to you because you value it, and that's the reason why you see it. And in our process of undoing, in our say exercises to come to know ourselves, we can only go so far, and this part of so far has really everything to do with letting go of ideas about ourselves. Like, we cannot change what we are in truth. What is, and that is never changeable. So so that is really something else, isn't it? So it is a transformative process that we're finding ourselves in, and a transformational process is a change. So it's like being born again. It's like suddenly you're in the, like Paul sitting on his horse, chasing all the Christians and murdering them and all that kind of stuff, and suddenly he's caught by lightning and he's like thrown off his horse. And that kind of transformation is what we're talking about. Not that it has to look like this, because this was just the story of Paul, but you have your own story in coming to know the truth about you and coming into a deep experience of what is real about you. And it doesn't matter how that looks or how you come to it, but the most essential part for the experience of yourself is that it happens to you. How it happens? No idea. And how that will look for you? No idea. It doesn't matter. But it's definitely the opportunity to let such thing occur. And basically that's why we're here too, to remember that that's an option even, and for one thing, and it is an option of something that can really well occur right now. It doesn't need to take a long time to have that happen. But it is not under your conscious control. It's not that you determine when that is going to happen or how God is going to come to you. You have nothing to do with that decision, so to speak. So what we can do is to become still, to step back, to let go of what we think God is and how this all works, and become so still that only one voice remains, the still small voice. So that's our exercise, to listen to just that and forget about the rest. And you need training for that. We practice this a lot, and still it's not easy, because there are so many voices that seem to be so important. But not today. Today, take time to say, come to the one voice that is actually speaking to us continuously, without ceasing, without stopping. Like it's a continuous instruction, guidance, breathing that occurs. Just as you breathe, this is how close that is to you too. Even closer than your breathing is what Joel says. Like even closer than your breathing, and it says it in the Bible too. It's like closer than your breath. Well, your breath is pretty close. So we're going to use even that breath to come closer to ourselves. Like, okay, wait a minute, let's focus on the breath to start with that. So now, after this breath, after this coming close to my breath, having that in full awareness, we go even deeper to that still small voice that is closer than my breathing. You know, so this just comes to me this way to share this with you. Anyway, so for the meditation, still are the ones coming in. So all are welcome. I'm happy that you're here. It's great. So we're about to start the meditation. I did a little introductory talk about letting go and your place in all this. Leaving everything behind, becoming completely still, starting to focus on your breath, but then going beyond that. And going beyond that in terms of going even deeper into yourself, to the place where only one voice remains. If you hear two voices competing with one another, you're not there yet. So we go deeper and make it simpler for ourselves. You only go for this one still small voice. It's not loud, it is small, still, and it's yours. Like it's completely connected to you. It's in you. So I made an animation for this, like I made a little video for this that I'm going to read, but you can read it too if you want. I'm going to share a screen with you, so there's no sound for the rest. I and my Father are one. I'm gonna slow it down. I and my Father are one. So sit back and relax and let this come to you. You don't have to do anything. I'm reading this to you. Breathe it in and come to the still small voice. Come to that place inside of you where it's quiet. I and my Father are one is the simple truth. To experience just this is my only reality. That moment is given to me. It is given to me. Is revealing itself. Is coming to life in me. By His grace. That moment is given to me, is revealing itself, is coming to life in me by His grace. My function in this is to become willing to still all the voices within me, but this one. My function in this is to become willing to still all the voices in me, but this one. To start denying all the denial. The quote-unquote replacement of what is. To start denying all the denial. The replacement of what is. To no longer believe what causes fear in me and confirms limitation. To no longer believe what causes fear in me and confirms limitation. But to open to grace for one moment, so the light can flux into a consciousness that was never born. But to open to grace for one moment, so the light can flux into a consciousness that was never born. The love that is forever, all-inclusive, all-knowing, all-present, and all-encompassing. The love that is forever, all-inclusive, all-knowing, all-present, all-encompassing. I and my Father are one. So now we will be quiet to be still with this. I and my Father are one is the simple truth. To experience just this is my only reality. That moment is given to me, is revealing itself, is coming to life in me by His grace. My function in this is to become willing to still all the voices in me, but this one. To start denying all the denial, the quote-unquote replacement of what is. To no longer believe what causes fear in me and confirms limitation. But to open to grace for one moment, so the light can flux into a consciousness that was never born. The love that is forever, all-inclusive, all-knowing, all-present, and all-encompassing. I and my Father are one. I and my Father are one. It's the simple truth. To experience just this is my only reality. That moment is given to me, is revealing itself, is coming to life in me by His grace. My only function in this is to become willing to still all the voices in me but this one. To start denying all the denial, the replacement, quote unquote, of what is. To no longer believe what causes fear in me and confirms limitation. But to open to grace for one moment, so the light can flux into a consciousness that was never born. The love that is forever all-inclusive, all-knowing, all-present, all-encompassing. I and my Father are one. I and my Father are one is the simple truth. To experience just this is my only reality. That moment is given to me, is revealing itself, is coming to life in me by His grace. My function in this is to become willing to still all the voices in me but this one. To start denying all the denial, the quote-unquote replacement of what is. To no longer believe what causes fear in me and confirms limitation. But to open to grace for one moment, so the light can flux into a consciousness that was never born. The love that is forever all-inclusive, all-knowing, all-present, and all-encompassing. I and my Father are one. Thank you. Thank you so much for being in meditation here. That's great. That's great. So we continue in preparing for the even further for our moment with Joel. And that's interesting. So we meditate here, becoming so still and so quiet, and really going within deeply. And then, say, Joel will relate to this in what he shares too, very much so. And so he uses also John. He uses Paul. He uses Bible a lot in the first half hour. So we are actually listening to the second half hour. And so, like I said in the beginning, the study of this is really like allowing yourself to go into the, say, discipline of doing this, of wanting, say, allowing yourself to be knocked off your horse, allowing yourself to die daily. And that sounds very dramatic altogether, but it's more like the discipline is really like that. It's keeping you right here. It's one day at a time. Don't think too far ahead. It's happening today. This is my chance. This is my. I'm willing to dedicate this day, just for this day, to listen. To listen. This is where it all starts. Like, become quiet. Go quietly within. Stay for a moment there, a couple of times a day, or whenever you feel that you have to do that. And for however long that you feel is comfortable to you. You don't have to push it in that sense. So it's like, it's not what you're doing, and at the same time, it's a discipline. In fact, the discipline is then, especially in the part of the willingness. It's like, am I willing to return back to this path during the day a couple of times, to dislodge from what occupied my mind so incredibly, but now I have to let go of it for just a moment, to return back to the still place where I can find myself, where I can commune with everything that is. And whether that is successful completely right away or not, it doesn't matter. So the discipline is still the same. Like, you can have a full-blown awakening experience, that's great. And the next day is the next day. That experience is gone in itself. Like, it's gone. It is an experience you had. So here's it. Are you willing to go back to this place, to literally die into your humanhood today? That's all that's being asked. And we tend to forget that. We tend to forget that that's your discipline, that's what you do. So there's not so much to understand. There's not so much to understand at all. Because understanding would immediately relate to your mental sphere, which knows nothing in that sense, which doesn't know anything. Or your intellect, like, it's totally in the way of actually having an open experience of communication. You would always be able to come up with a thought why it doesn't work today, for instance. This is the mind is so creative in that sense. It can come up with all kinds of stuff. But you decide, as part of your discipline, not to listen to that today. That's a big change. That is a huge change. It's like, I've been doing this for a long time, and this is still the practice. It did not change. It is still the same. So am I willing to be knocked off my horse today? Am I willing to die into my humanhood today? Or do I already have a great plan about what I should do to save myself? This is what the mind creates continuously. The human mind is creating continuously a plan for survival and attack and defense and all this. But that has nothing to do with the reality of who you are. So in order for you to experience this grace, it is important to... well, there's a bit of noise there. I'm going to turn this down. Okay, I don't know what that was. Anyway, it's still going on. I'll keep it low. So the amazing thing is with this is then you stick with the practice. This was what I'm saying. And it's pretty amazing what happens during this transformational process, isn't it? It seems like it's the same discipline every day, so that doesn't necessarily make it easier either. But it's interesting to follow it and to see that, how that works. You know, it is really interesting. So one of the things that I just remembered was this. It's like in the first couple of weeks, I think it was, after I had a great experience of awakening, something happened. I was suddenly so I felt such an incredible strong connection to Hawaii. I had no idea why, but walking out in the street somewhere, I found 2 surfboards and a whole suitcase full of books about surfing in Hawaii. And I've been using that. I've been using that as almost like my Bible, you know, especially in those days. I used it to let it tell me what that actually wanted to tell me. And so there was a great sense of freedom connected to the idea of trusting something so powerful that you just play with it in a certain sense. You become into a harmonious relationship with it, and there you go. You just trust and be in that, like being on this big wave with your surfboard and trusting what's going on. Like, reason would tell you never to do such a thing. Intellect would tell you, like, well, the probability of you to collapse this and that would happen would bring you into great fear. So this is very much the same with waking up. It's like if you would tell somebody where you're going through in your awakening, like there's hardly anyone with an intellect that will tell you to do this. You know, it's like this is the last thing you want to do. Look at it. It is a complete denial of the world. It will tell you to go the opposite direction. It would, you do things for no reason. You just do it because you feel you have to do it. You're moved to do it. That's why you do it. Whether there's something like coming to you from it, like if it would give you profit, you would have a reason to do it. But here you don't know anything about it. You have no idea why you do these things, but you do them. Why are you sitting still? Who knows when you're going to have like a result of that? You're not looking for that. So the more you give up of all these so-called goals that you want to achieve as a human being, the more unlikely it is for a human being to do it, in fact. But you, in your awakening process, are sticking with it and actually doing it. And something is inspiring you to do so. So this is the part where Joel tells you in the talk of today. It's like what he shows you is that Jesus had to go. But he said, I will not leave you comfortless. It's like, I will send you a comforter. And this is, say, our inspiration. It's like on a daily basis, you have the possibility to become inspired by just taking time to let that occur. And then it's pretty simple. Then it's not hard. It can be very great and very happy and joyous to just do that. Just do what is asked of you. Read this. Okay, these words. I'm letting them come to me. Oh, I and my Father are one. I'm going to sit with that. I'm going to sit with this one line and allow something to happen. You know, this is our practice. This is what we do continuously. But we're inspired to do so. So our relationship with Spirit is really, it's a spiritual path. Like, it is really obvious that there's an inspiration going on to do what you're doing. Returning back home is what you know that is going on. And you never left home. That's one thing you learn. So it's like, no, this is coming in touch with the heaven that's inside of you. It is already here. It is already accomplished. It is available to you, and you don't have to go anywhere for it. And you can say, allow yourself to come deeper and deeper into that. So this is what Joel shares with us too, in his own way. So in the examples that he used. So we will start start listening to his tape around like 30 minutes or so. And before that we have a moment of play a little bit of music. You have a little break. You can do whatever you need to do, and we see each other in 4 minutes or so. So thank you so much. Thank you for this.